Hey everybody, welcome back to Super Retro. So the other day, Nintendo released their much anticipated Direct presentation, and I thought that today I'll just take some time to give you my thoughts, good and bad, on the announcements that were made. So let's jump right in. So the first announcement of Nintendo's presentation began with this cinematic of an ominous landscape and someone carrying Ganondorf's body to the top of a mountain. This led many fans to believe that this could be a cinematic for Breath of the Wild 2. But of course we realized quickly that this was an announcement for another DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Longtime fighter and first protagonist of the Namco Tekken series, Kazuya Mishima gets ready for the next battle. This isn't a huge announcement for me, I suspected that Nintendo would keep adding DLC characters to Smash Bros. And, I honestly haven't played it in a while. I love Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's a fantastic game, and I do have some of the DLC characters, but I'm just not a big enough fan to keep buying more. But I do see a place for Kazuya to fit into Smash Bros. Really well. I mean, he's a natural fighter, and Tekken's a really popular game worldwide, so I'm glad to see this addition overall. The second announcement of the evening was of the Life is Strange collection and Life is Strange True Colors coming to Switch. These are games that I honestly have not tried yet, so I very well may pick up a copy when they come out. These games have great reviews, and from what I've heard, they are fantastic narrative-driven games. The remaster collection will be available on September 10th, and True Colors will come out later this year. The next announcement was from Square Enix, and this is a game that I honestly have mixed feelings about. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. I love that Square is, taking a hold of these Marvel series, and they look really interesting, but honestly, I just have no desire to play these games, but maybe later on when they're a little less pricey, I might try them out. I'll talk more about that in another video. Next up, we got Worms Rumble coming to Switch. These are great platforming shooter games. They always have great multiplayer, and this one is actually bragging to have cross-platform multiplayer. I honestly haven't played many of the modern Worms games, but I'm sure this will be good old Worms fun, and it'll be nice to have it on the Switch. The next game on the list is called Astria Ascending. This seems like a 2D side-scrolling RPG type game, and honestly, the graphic style is really nice. It's super detailed and it looks very polished, so I look forward to seeing this game come out as well. The next game coming from Sega is 2 Point Campus. This is a simulation game where you basically build your own college or university. I've seen a bit of a following of these games, especially with the 2 Point Hospital games. They seem to recreate the old 90s feel of those simulation games, especially like Theme Hospital. I remember having that game on the PC and PS1, and I'm sure this one will be just as fun. The next announcement is one that I'm super excited for. We are finally revisiting the Super Monkey Ball series with Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. This is a collection of the first 3 games remastered in HD for the Nintendo Switch and other consoles. This game will surely be a hit because it's got all sorts of game modes. You've got platforming, mazes, mini games, you name it. This game is super fun, and I'm so glad to see Sega bring it back. The next announcement is one that's gotten plenty of mixed reviews. Mario Party Superstars will be the 12th entry in the Mario Party series. It will feature 5 remastered maps from the first 3 titles, and it will include 100 remastered minigames from the series. Personally, I'm really excited for this one. I'm glad to see them revisit the old games. I grew up with the N64, it's part of my childhood. But I do understand the mixed reviews as there are only 5 game boards, and honestly, they're not the greatest ones from the first 3 games. I do think Nintendo will end up releasing more content for this game, but that's just my speculation. One big addition to this game is online play. This is something that Mario Party fans have looked forward to for years, so I'm sure this will be a hit. This game will release on October 29th of this year, and honestly, I am so stoked. The next announcement was one of the biggest at E3 overall, and I'll let the screen explain why. Metroid 5, or Metroid Dread. This is a game that I believe they've been working on since the early 2000s, but never got around to finishing and releasing it. I know many fans are kind of bummed out that this wasn't a Metroid Prime announcement, especially with the cinematic at the beginning, but I'm very excited for this one as well. The gameplay reminds me a little bit of Metroid Fusion, where you have this thing following you around the environment. In this case, it's a robot, and it seems like stealth is going to be a key gameplay element. I also love how Nintendo has included moves from the other entries in the series, and the combination of 3D cinematics with good old-fashioned 2D Metroid action seems to be really effective. The initial release date for this game is October 8th of this year, so this may be a day one pickup for me. Nintendo announced that on the same day, 2 amiibos, one of Samus and one of the Emmy, which is the robot that chases Samus, will be available for purchase. The next few games are some that I'm not particularly excited about, but I still want to mention them. You've got Just Dance 2022, which seems to have a good mix of songs. It'll be coming out later this year in November. Cruisin' Blast, which is part of the Cruisin' arcade racing series. I think this game actually came out in arcades in like 2017, but we just never saw it on consoles till now. It's got a really cool, vibrant color scheme, and it seems really fun. The next game is one I didn't even realize existed, but we're getting a Switch port of it. This is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and it's a semi-open world action role-playing game developed by CyberConnect 2. I don't know how well it plays, but it seems like a love note to Dragon Ball Z fans. I gotta be honest, when I first saw the screen that Nintendo was making another Mario Golf, I wasn't super stoked, but Mario Golf Super Rush looks fantastic. Leave it to Nintendo to make something so simple, so new and refreshing and fun. There are so many new game modes, like one where you have to basically rush and race your opponents and set up traps for them and try to get to the hole as fast as you can. And the environments look great, the graphics are awesome, the lighting is wonderful. And Mario Golf is a game I've really enjoyed in the past, so I'm definitely thinking of buying this one when it comes out on June 25th. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a game I really wasn't expecting to be announced, but it seems interesting. The first game came out on the 3DS a few years ago, and it's basically an RPG in the Monster Hunter world. I think the biggest thing that sets this game apart from the regular series is the turn-based battles. But overall, it seems to still have the same hunting, gathering, and crafting that the Monster Hunter fans know and love. The art style is gorgeous. It reminds me almost of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and these shots of the character riding their monster through these environments are really cool. So I definitely think this game might be worth a try. When I saw Wario pop up on the screen, I got super excited. The WarioWare games are basically known for their unique sense of humor. The developers take hundreds of micro games that they come up with, and these games could be from, 5 to 10 seconds long, and you have to complete the actions in the minigame successfully within the time limit to not lose. As you progress, the minigames get faster and faster, and the time limits get smaller. So you really gotta be on your toes, as you never know which minigames come next. This entry in the series seems to focus more on 2D platforming, which could be really interesting, and the multiplayer looks awesome. I will absolutely pick up a copy of this game when it comes out on September 10th. The next announcement is a game that we previously only had a really short teaser trailer for. The Shin Megami Tensei series is a Japanese role-playing game series developed by Atlus, and it's definitely gained a following since the Persona games have gotten so popular. These games put you in the shoes of a Japanese school student who gets pulled into a post-apocalyptic demon world. Much like the Persona series, you fight demons in battle, and learning their weaknesses is key to survival. You can also converse with the demons to try and convince them to join your battle party. These games tend to have a more complex battle system, and you really have to pay attention to details, as one wrong move could set you up for failure. Other than Persona, I haven't played the Shin Megami Tensei games since Nocturne on the PS2, so this is a game I definitely have to buy. The Danganronpa games are visual novel games that I actually haven't played myself, but people are huge fans, and I remember always being recommended these games on the Vita. I just never got around to trying them. From what I understand, these games are like murder mysteries about a homicidal teddy bear, but the stories are really good, apparently. Danganronpa Decadence will feature 3 games from the series, as well as an expanded standalone board game, Ultimate Summer Camp. While these games can be purchased on the eShop, Decadence will be available as a physical exclusive for the Switch. Next up, Nintendo announced that they would be releasing a port of Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. This was a game that I think a lot of people skipped over because it was a Wii U exclusive that was only available digitally in North America. Apparently the game had some performance issues as well, so I think Nintendo's addressed those performance issues and optimized it for Switch. While I haven't played this game personally, I've played other games in the series and they can be really terrifying. These games make you come face to face, literally, with ghosts, as your only defense against them is to use your camera and take a picture of them to cast them out. I'm a total sucker for horror games and I've enjoyed the Fatal Frame games in the past, so I'm really looking forward to this release. Next up, Nintendo announced an expansion for Doom Eternal on the Switch. This is the Ancient Gods Part 1, and they announced that the remasters of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 will be coming to Switch as well. I haven't played these remasters yet, but I think I'm probably going to pick them up for PS4 before Switch. And then a cooperative third-person shooter called Strange Brigade was announced to come to Switch. This game was already released on Xbox One and PS4, but I'm sure that fans of the game will be glad to see it come to Switch. The next game announced was actually leaked shortly before E3. Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope is the second game in the Mario + Rabbids series, and it's a turn-based tactical role-playing game developed by Ubisoft. These games play much like the XCOM series, and I gotta be honest, I tried the first Mario + Rabbids game and I just couldn't get into it. I tried giving it a shot a few times and I don't know what it was, I just really wasn't into the game. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed these games, so, if you're a fan, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I should give these games another shot. The next game announcement totally took me by surprise, as this is a series that we haven't seen in years. Advance Wars was originally released on the Game Boy Advance, hence the name, and they're turn-based tactic games, much like the Fire Emblem series, but in a more cutesy, fun, military style. Nintendo announced that both the first two games would be reimagined and rebuilt from the ground up for Nintendo Switch, and I gotta say, they look amazing. The graphical style is almost like little models or toys fighting against each other, and the little cutscenes are really cool. It's nice to see Nintendo revisiting these old series and breathing new life into them. This collection comes out on December 3rd of this year, and it's probably going to be a day one purchase for me. And now the moment we all waited for. Nintendo wrapped up the presentation with a few Zelda announcements that some people are excited for and some aren't so much. First, we've got the expansion pass for the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity game. I actually haven't played this one yet, but it seems very interesting. Age of Calamity takes place, I believe, 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and it goes through some of Link's adventures before everything fell into ruin. This is a game I've wanted to play for a while now, so I'll probably purchase it in the near future. The second I see Eiji Aonuma appear, I can't help but get excited. He spoke a little bit about the Age of Calamity DLC, and then talked more about the Skyward Sword HD remaster, which many fans have been looking forward to for a while now. I personally was not a huge fan of Skyward Sword. It's one of the only Zelda games that I've not completed. I've given it a few tries and I always just get burnt out on it. I don't necessarily think it's just because of the motion controls. There's just something about this game that feels different and divides fans. However, I'm gonna give this one another shot on the Switch because, it's still The Legend of Zelda, it's the origin of The Legend of Zelda, and not only have they fine-tuned the motion controls for Switch, but they've also added a button-only option. So I'm probably gonna pick this one up day one as well. Next up, Aonuma showed The Legend of Zelda Game & Watch, and wow, this thing looks fantastic. It's a great way to celebrate the 35th anniversary, but unfortunately, Aonuma said that there were no more Zelda games being planned for release on the Switch this year. On the bright side, the Game & Watch features the first Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, Zelda: A Link to the Past, the Game Boy version, as well as an original Zelda Game & Watch game called Vermin. They've also added a playable clock themed after the first Legend of Zelda, and an interactive timer themed after Zelda 2. The Game & Watch will be available on November 12th, and like the first Game & Watch release this year, I'm probably going to pick this one up really quickly. And last but not least, Nintendo finally released another trailer for the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I couldn't be more excited for the sequel. I played the first game for more hours than I'd like to admit. I loved the world, the story, the lore. It was just fantastic. And the sequel seems to be much of the same. Link has some new powers, a new look. It's just as beautiful as ever, but I think myself as well as many fans are kind of concerned that we might be spending a lot of time on these sky islands rather than the world below that we explored before. If that's the case, I'm totally cool with it, but I think a really cool route they could have taken is by maybe destroying parts of the world below when the castle's lifted through the sky, or maybe even using time travel to alter the state of things in certain areas. The trailer wasn't too long, so none of us can say for certain what's going to happen in this game, but I can probably say for certain that I'm going to enjoy it regardless. Of course, the trailer faded, leaving us with a date of 2022, and hopefully the game will release next year. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed going through this overview with me. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, so let me know, what games you're looking forward to, what games you're not looking forward to. I have a feeling that Nintendo's got something up their sleeve for the end of the year because there really weren't that many games announced to be released near the holidays. And I also have a feeling that maybe this Nintendo Switch Pro that we're looking forward to, I think they're going to save that for Breath of the Wild 2. But that's just my theory. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care.